With just a 60-day session, cutoff dates force the legislature to set priorities. Time is of the essence. With thousands of bills introduced, not all of them will be brought up for a vote. After the cutoff on Wednesday, February 25th, less than 400 bills remained, and still there's not enough time to hear them all. Strategy always plays a role during session, but in this compressed second half, it becomes even more important. You can see it most clearly during floor debate. To discuss these strategies for our Tech for Teens bills, we spoke with Senator Wellman and Representative Couture.
I always like to say the majority gets to choose what the priorities are. They get to choose essentially what they want to pass as long as they have support for it within their own caucus. And they get to choose when they bring those bills to the floor. In the minority party, we don't have those same tools, but we still have some rights and responsibilities.
Remarks, Senator Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I consider this one of the most important bills that I'll be bringing forward this year. In terms of speaking on the floor, we're conscious of two things. One, I want people to understand what the bill is so that they're comfortable voting for it. But of course, we talk about that in caucus and agree to it that our caucus is really, it wouldn't be going if the caucus wasn't going to vote for it. But I also want to make sure that the other caucus is kind of aware of which bill we're talking about, because we go through a lot of bills. And then, very frankly, shut up. Because the other thing that I hear as I'm talking is bills are dying if you don't shut up on this bill. So I think it's just necessary to give as much information as necessary to, here's my perspective on it.
If there's something that we think harms our districts or harms our people or harms the state as a whole, we have a right and responsibility to stand up and speak out about those things and offer amendments and try to fix or kill things. And so we use our rights under the rules to maybe slow down the process. So we didn't have nearly as many amendments on the chatbot bill as we did on House Bill 1834, which is the Attorney General's Addictive Feeds and Algorithms bill.
Representative Couture.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment requires
Many concerns surround definitions included in the bill.
Definitions are really important. Words matter, and they especially matter in the law. They matter to companies that might be litigated or sued because of the definitions in any of these bills. And sometimes the intent of the bill is maybe very good. The language inside is also equally important because if you don't strike the right balance and if you don't make the right corrections to the language and the definitions and the enforcement actions of the bill, it could cause unintended consequences for our economy, for consumers.
I think it's really important for us to be able to put a box around and saying, this is what we're talking about. This is the kind of product that we're talking about. There are times that we engage with products. Is that a chatbot? Not necessarily. And so the more we can be precise, the more we can give guidance that is precise.
The AI companion chatbot bills have both advanced through their chambers of origin. The main differences between the two revolved around these definitions. These differences were mostly resolved through amendments raised in the House Committee on Business, Technology, and Veterans on Senate Bill 5984.
By your vote, engrossed substitute Senate Bill 5984 is reported out of committee with a do pass as amended recommendation.
The fact that both companion bills remain alive at this stage with this little time left underscores the legislative priority behind the issue.
I would say one of the biggest commodities here in the legislature is time. And so sometimes, I would say most of the time, if there's a House and Senate companion bills, which means they're the same bill introduced in two different areas, the leadership in the House or Senate will pick which one of those bills is the vehicle, and maybe the other one won't advance and the other one will, and that's typically a time savings. Sometimes both companions do advance on the off chance that something wrong happens along the way. And when you see that, typically it's like this is a very high priority for somebody, in this case the governor, with the chatbot bill. And you know, they want to make sure that if there's a problem along the way that something passes.
You have a better shot of getting one of them through. You're not necessarily going to get both, but in a short session, there's so much pressure to move bills that it may turn out that it is the other bill that moves forward, or it is my bill that moves forward. From my perspective, I'd love it to be my bill, truthfully, but I think it's most important that something moves forward that I can feel very comfortable is going to be positive in terms of its effect.
As we stand now, before any further floor debate, here's how the two bills break down. Both the House and Senate version require a disclosure that the AI chatbot is not human. Both require a protocol for detecting and addressing self-harm or suicidal ideation, and both provide for enforcement under the Consumer Protection Act. Where they differ is in definition specificity, mainly on how educational tools and gaming systems will be defined. However, there continues to be conflicting opinions on the enforcement mechanism, which is the private right of action through the Consumer Protection Act.
If we think it's a product that is out there that has resulted in harm to a child, I want to make sure that you understand we're taking this pretty damn seriously. And to me, a private right of action says to industry just that. Watch out. You really need to be on top of this. You really need to take this, we're this serious about it. And I think it also says to the public, sends a message to the public. We're there to protect your kids.
My opposition to my no vote on the AI chat bill was not about the intent or even some of the great things that the bill does, which I concede the bill does some really good things. But when the bills are not well defined and the enforcement actions are kind of left up in the air, this serves as like this unchecked litigation threat.
Madam Speaker, there are 69 yeas, 28 nays, 1 excused.
And my position is that I can understand that a bill is good, but if the language is not right, I don't have to vote yes on basically on vibes and say, trust me, bro, on this kind of legislation. I'm going to vote yes on bills that I think the language is correct.
There are now just 2 weeks left in session, and a lot can still happen. For the AI chatbot bill to become law, the exact same version with identical language must pass both chambers. Right now, the bills are very similar, but not identical. So stay tuned in the coming weeks as negotiations continue.